Okay, so this is part three. So think of yourself as just like one of those films, okay, in a can, where you unravel it, you unwind the film, and every experience that you've had has magnetic moments that are events, right, that are all wound up on a holographic strip, right? Remember I mentioned before, it's much like being able to read like an EKG that measures all the experiences as waves, acid production, alkaline production, acid production, alkaline, as magnetic moments, as acid production, alkalizing. You can actually quantify all of the events that are actually taking place between everything that's being communicated electronically within the entire DNA physical body. That all that gets recorded, okay, and measured. And that's called mapping an individual unit of consciousness as experiencing what it is on that particular event horizon timeline. Okay, so that's mapping the field of an individual. You can also map the entire field, okay, of the entire planet. Okay, so when you start out your life as a child, you start out and go, hey, these are my experiences. So you can hit the rewind button, and then you experience what you experienced before, and then what happens? You're going to create acid. Every time that you're using electrons in order to experience what it is that you are, it is the magnetic light and the electrons that is feeding the information to provide the magnetic moment that you experience. So there's a balance between the two, between acid and alkaline. So you want to be able to keep yourself in an alkaline state because the cells are supposed to be in an alkaline state, which essentially means that the function of the alkaline is to maintain the health of the cells as a result of the electrons that are used as the information that you experience that creates acid. Okay? So this is one of the reasons why for humans that have emotions, which is very powerful energy as waves, bands of powerful waves create a lot of acid, don't they? Of course. So you need some very powerful alkalizers. Okay, right, yeah. So all those events between the relationship that both have can be recorded because it's bioelectrical chemistry, right? Electrodynamics, electrogravitics, if you will. Now you begin to realize how all that works and being able to travel. But without going into that, the importance of what I'm referring to here is that as events unfold, particularly in America, and we think about hope and what I call a savior program, okay? When you think of savior program, God's going to save us, or Jesus is going to save you, the second coming and all that, it doesn't work that way, okay? Because the universe is within you. What you experience is what you are experiencing holographically, okay, as a bidirectional way in which you experience the external and the inner you. And those events are recorded on your timeline, okay? So naturally, as I've explained before, the Indians prefer the higher frequency energy because we cannot be any good to you as healers if we're not always fully lit and our batteries are always highly charged as a lighthouse to restore what happened to you as a result of all the programming, right? So I end up trying to do the best I possibly can because I believe that love is the most powerful drug there is. It's the most powerful energy I know because it will restore you. Okay, I know that not only because of my own experiences, but by being able to experience by healing others through the heart, just by the way in which you can write a love letter, send a text message, send a picture that's worth 1,000 words, right? Those kinds of things raise people's energy. Okay, they do. So when these events sort of unfold, particularly in America, and when Trump became president, you could tell by everything that he was laying down, he had laid down the groundwork. The first big gauntlet was Executive Order 13818, which essentially meant we're going to seize all your property, and you're going to go to prison if you commit a war crime against a human. That has never happened before in the history of the United States of America. So when you're putting all the little dots together, the information, when you already know, when you saw the ships come in, you saw the battles in space, okay? You know who the Earth Defense Forces commander is, giving you updates all the time, giving you the grand tour because she built the computer lab at NASA. Okay, you're laying out your timeline, and you sort of already realize, because you have a looking glass, that when you consider the energetic responses, remember reaction, non-reaction, reaction, you're reacting to the event of what you become aware of. And just like Gaia was going to move the poles very slowly because she doesn't want to cause what? Too much energy to go in the direction that we don't want it to go in. It's going to collapse a timeline where a bunch of people end up experiencing events that they believe is going to happen, and that results in lower frequency consciousness that can make events happen that are catastrophic. If they believe, and enough people believe, that those things are going to happen. Consciousness can make them happen when you have enough quantum energy in which to do it with. Okay? So this is why the community that was talking about Nibiru and all the other things that were going to happen, the Armageddon, they tried to get that off the ground. The alien space invasion, they tried to get off the ground with their holographic technology and all the rest of it. Okay? These are beings that are as evil as anything that you can possibly imagine. Okay? When you think about what it feels like to be in love with somebody and out in a meadow with a girl you're in love with, where it's timeless, right? And you're feeling an enormous amount of, wow, you're just free to dream together, how beautiful the universe is to experience, and then imagine they do the kind of things that you understand they do to children. And you begin to realize, wow, they're like on opposite sides of the spectrum. How is it possible that anything is that evil? Right? So, because people have experienced so much poverty in others, so much pain and suffering in their own life, so much stress and anxiety trying to make ends meet just to be able to pay their bills, keep a roof over their head, feed their families, and enjoy themselves, when they were held captive to demons all the time that were always pulling the rug out from underneath them. So people couldn't figure out in enough time to collectively mobilize, realize who they are, because they hide behind the same suits that look like we do. Right? So they're in positions of power control. So their pawns on the board, what I call their gatekeepers, was naturally law enforcement, FBI, and then of course the militaries. See, those are the gatekeepers holding you captive. Okay? So that's a fear-based hell realm. So now that we got the good guys that have come in here, things are going to begin to unfold in ways in which most people are just not going to believe it, because they simply were not aware that those technologies exist, that you really are in Star Wars. So you can imagine the kind of technologies that are available, of what's possible to experience that is beyond your imagination, right? So these things are going to get rolled. And as we used to call in Hawaii, the coconut wireless, the grapevine, people begin to talk. Hey, guess what? They got wireless up in Texas. Hey, you hear about we got new technology to repair ourselves without an invasive surgery, without having to go through needles being stuck in your arm and going through any kind of pain. Wow, really? We got that kind of stuff? Yeah, of course. You'd be surprised what's available. And all this stuff will get rolled out, and people begin to realize, wow, that'll raise your spirit, that'll raise your energy, and everybody will heal. Okay, so we're in what's called restoration mode on a planetary scale. Okay, so that's why I listen to the updates at Project Speak. with Kim Go-Goon and all of the staff, all the beings that are here all over the world right now that are rolling this out. Okay, so I expected this to happen, and so this is how it's gonna happen to liberate humanity. Okay, so this is really a grand celebration and a liberation of a planet, and song and dance and celebrating life with love, right? So have a great time. I've waited my whole life for this. Have a great day. Bye now.